This is ink. Toshitsugu Okabe is carefully kneading it until it becomes as soft as a rice cake. It is absolutely imperative for him to be as thorough and meticulous as possible, because a well-kneaded and worked mixture transforms into the highest quality calligraphy ink. It takes at least 4 complete years of aging and maturation before these solid ink sticks can finally be sold to the public, and even longer, often decades, for the most expensive and refined specimens. A high-quality ink stick weighing 200 grams from this prestigious producer, Kobayan, costs more than $1,000, and for some other specialized and renowned brands, prices can easily reach nearly $2,000. Meanwhile, almost double the amount of common commercial liquid India ink can be purchased for less than $9. So why are these solid ink sticks so sought after and desired? And why are they so extraordinarily expensive? It's January in Nara Prefecture, Japan. The ink producer Kobayan has been manufacturing Japanese calligraphy ink for an impressive 450 years. This specific type of ink, also known as Sumi-e, is traditionally sold in the form of handmade solid ink sticks, following ancestral techniques. To use the dry ink stick and transform it into usable liquid, calligraphers carefully rub it on a special inkstone to gradually mix it with water. Sumi ink is typically deep black, but can also be tinted in shades of earthy brown or delicate blue, depending on the intended use. The basic ingredients are remarkably simple: finely collected soot, high-quality animal glue, and aromatic perfume to counterbalance unwanted odors. But the exceptional quality of these materials and the intensive techniques requiring time, skill, and patience needed to properly collect and process them have an enormous and significant impact on the final price of the finished product. It all begins in this special room, illuminated by exactly 100 oil lamps that burn continuously. This traditional workshop has 4 rooms exactly like this one, where dedicated artisans produce all the soot they need to manufacture the ink. 2 highly trained workers are responsible for this crucial stage, each carefully supervising 2 complete rooms and 200 oil lamps. They meticulously manage the vegetable oil in the lamps and gradually collect the soot throughout the entire day, without interruption. In Japan, this traditional and delicate process is called capturing the smoke. Every day, without exception, the artisans light all 400 lamps and cover each one with a special lid, whose bottom part collects the precious soot as the oil burns slowly. But they cannot simply leave the lid in the same place for hours on end, because overheating will prevent the soot from accumulating properly and compromise its quality. The flame must be off-center and precisely positioned, and the artisans must carefully rotate the lid every 20 minutes during a period of 2 consecutive hours. The artisans delicately scrape the soot from the top of the lid using specialized tools. They attentively refill the oil, and the entire meticulous process begins again from the start, for an impressive total of 5 times a day for each individual lamp. These specific lamps contain high-purity rapeseed oil, the most common and traditional choice when producing high-grade, premium-quality ink sticks. Ink sticks manufactured with soot from even more expensive and rare oils, such as paulownia, camellia, or sesame, can easily cost up to 4 times more than standard versions. But experienced artisans must also carefully consider other important technical details, such as the specific containers that store the oil and the precise material of the wick that will be used. To guarantee and ensure the superior quality of the soot, they exclusively use carefully selected non-porous ceramic containers. The specialized artisans in this traditional workshop even weave the wicks themselves, following exact and rigorous specifications passed down through generations. The fineness and uniformity of the soot grains directly determine the final price of the finished product. Then there's the essential binding agent, superior quality animal glue. Unlike most of their modern liquid ink counterparts, which use synthetic shellac, Sumi ink typically uses glue derived from cattle. For the most expensive and exclusive ink sticks, artisans sometimes mix other specific types of glue, such as from donkey, deer, and goat, in carefully calculated proportions. Kobayan claims this significantly improves the shine and texture of the final ink. The company acquires specially manufactured glue for Sumi ink, which comes in a dry form similar to a rigid board. The artisans dissolve it by carefully mixing it with water at exactly 70 degrees Celsius, a process that takes more than an hour and a half of constant work and dedicated attention. According to Kobayan, slowly dissolving the glue at a low and controlled temperature is absolutely fundamental to producing exceptional quality ink. But animal glue can have an unpleasant and strong smell, so Sumi ink manufacturers add natural fragrances like borneol and musk to neutralize and counterbalance this undesirable odor. The next crucial step is kneading the soot, glue, and fragrance together until forming a soft and uniform mass. The mass is kneaded every morning carefully by hand and with feet, following traditional techniques. Toshitsugu takes special care to knead it completely and thoroughly, so that the soot and glue are distributed absolutely evenly throughout the mixture. This way, the solid stick can eventually dissolve into perfectly homogeneous liquid ink, without irregularities. Once he has properly kneaded the mass to the ideal consistency, Toshitsugu carefully cuts it into individual balls and weighs them to ensure absolute consistency. Then he places the balls in traditional molds and uses a specialized machine to press them and give them their definitive shape. Inadequately kneaded mass inevitably results in ink sticks that do not produce rich and vibrant colors when used. Kobayan manufactures approximately 6,000 of its smallest, highest quality ink sticks each month. The company employs a select handful of highly skilled artisans for this delicate work, and those in charge of the crucial task of kneading require the greatest experience and skill. It takes 5 complete years to train and form a competent Sumi ink artisan, but an incredible 10 years before they are finally authorized to manufacture premium high-quality ink. Kobayan produces nearly 40,000 of its smallest Sumi ink sticks between October and April, when the cooler weather of the Japanese winter ensures that the glue can harden properly during the molding process, without melting or deforming. But the hard work isn't complete yet. Drying the ink sticks too quickly will cause cracks and fissures, making them completely unsaleable and ruining months of careful work. So the artisans rely on an ancient traditional technique, using specially selected oak ashes to slowly absorb moisture from the sticks over an extended period of time. They begin by completely covering the sticks with carefully prepared damp ashes. Each day, without fail, they exchange yesterday's ashes for drier and fresher ones. They repeat this meticulous and laborious process for up to 40 consecutive days, until the ink sticks are approximately 70% dry. After that, they hang the sticks with traditional straw and air dry them inside the factory for up to 6 additional months. Properly drying and maturing a superior quality ink stick takes at least 4 complete years of careful storage. The longer the sticks dry and age under controlled conditions, the better they perform when used, and the more expensive and valuable they become. Kobayan itself maintains ink sticks that are hundreds of years old, true historical treasures. Finally, the artisans carefully polish them by hand and apply the final decorative touches. Now they are ready to be sold to talented calligraphers like Sho Azakami. Calligraphers like Sho traditionally prefer ink sticks to modern liquid ink due to the superior quality and control they provide. But to write with a Sumi ink stick, he must first patiently transform it into a usable liquid. This requires a traditional ink stone and clean water. Sho adds a small amount of water to the stone and rubs the ink stick on the surface of the stone, gradually breaking it down into particles. He carefully mixes the two components to make liquid ink, adding more water or more dry ink as needed, until obtaining the consistency and intensity he needs for his specific work. But not all Sumi inks provide him with the same writing experience and quality of result. 95% of all Sumi ink in Japan is manufactured right here, in Nara Prefecture. It is said that the production of Sumi ink in Japan began in the distant 7th century, when Chinese ink-making methods were introduced to the country by traveling Buddhist monks. By around the 14th century, the use of Sumi ink was flourishing abundantly throughout Japan. Although its primary use is for traditional calligraphy, it is also frequently used for ink paintings, known as Sumi-e, a highly respected art form. And because Kobayan must age its inksticks for several years before being able to sell them to the market, consistent and uninterrupted production is absolutely necessary. Otherwise, its supply will not be able to meet constant demand. But this does not mean in any way that the company wants to accelerate or drastically increase its production for short-term gains. Kobayan strives to continue manufacturing calligraphy ink using exactly the same traditional techniques and maintaining the same standard of exceptional quality that its founders established 450 years ago.